Well guys, after some time, we finally have some pretty major Star Wars news for the upcoming movies. We have some good news, as well as some news that I would consider to be bad, but not surprising to say the least. Unfortunately, at least for the time of recording this, there aren't any updates regarding Episode 7 of Ahsoka, or even a runtime, which by the time you are watching this video, it may have already come out, so that's whatever. But I cannot wait for this episode. Episode 6 was once again phenomenal. I truly believe this is my favorite Star Wars show so far. For all we know, the final 2 episodes could be completely terrible, but I highly doubt that. So welcome back everyone to the channel for another Star Wars news update video. Alongside the major news, I also want to give some brief thoughts on Episode 6 of Ahsoka. This episode was phenomenal. It's not my personal favorite of the series, but I do know a lot of people who say it is theirs, and I can see why. The episode has some of the core elements that, to me, make Star Wars Star Wars. These elements are adventure and mysticality. The episode throughout was almost perfect. Again, it's not my favorite of the series, but I really have zero complaints or issues with it. Thrawn's arrival was executed exactly how I and many others had hoped it would be, and I am so glad that they didn't wait until the very end of the last episode of this season to reveal him. We unfortunately only have 2 episodes left, and I am 90% sure that there is going to be a season 2. I mean, there's gotta be. We know Dave Filoni's movie is taking place in this timeline, and I strongly believe it will be the culmination of this story of Ahsoka, and possibly even The Mandalorian, depending on how Season 4 goes. So let me know your guys' thoughts on this episode. I am curious to hear what you think. And with that, let's get into some major Star Wars movie news. Like I said, there's some good and some not so surprising bad news. To start, the new Jedi Order film with Rey is now reported to actually start principal photography, which is where the bulk of shooting takes place, in April of next year. This is certainly a lot sooner than I had anticipated with everything going on in Hollywood, and it also appears that pre-production is going to start to take place in fall of this year. It's looking like this film is on track to release in 2026, and my guess would be in December of that year. I know that's a long ways away, but it is what it is. After a long ride, it appears the strikes are finally coming to an end, and production and writing will be resumed, which I am very grateful for. As I reported in an earlier news video, Skeleton Crew and The Acolyte have been delayed due to the strikes, but considering they are more than likely going to end by the end of this week, the delay that occurred shouldn't be nearly as severe as we had originally thought. And next up in the Star Wars news, oh boy, Taika Waititi's Star Wars movie. To start, I really do not want this movie. Anyone that knows me knows this. I'm not saying he's necessarily a bad writer or director, but I just don't feel his style would fit a Star Wars movie. I very well could be wrong, but that was just my initial thought when his film was announced years ago. Since then, nothing has come from it. But now, we have some news. News that is conflicting. From Taika Waititi to other reputable sources, it seems like something is happening with this film, whether it's canceled or not. Let's just get into the comments made by Taika to start, because they are frustrating to say the least. As I said, this movie was announced years ago, and per usual, everything from here was set in stagnation. But Taika did come out to give us an update on how the process of the film is going. I will simplify what he said. He basically has zero hope or expectations for his script to get finished. I wish I was joking. He said that, unlike Sean Levy's Star Wars script, his is likely to never be completed. Some may infer this as a joke, but according to Lucasfilm's track record and the fact that he's stated multiple times in the past that he doesn't have any idea if his film would get made or not, I'm leaning more towards this comment being serious. Now, after these comments were made, a good number of sources came out and started stirring the pot in the Star Wars fandom. First off, Daniel RPK, who from my understanding is a very reliable source in the entertainment industry, he flat out said that Taika's movie is officially dead. While this news made me kind of happy, as I just have little to no interest in a Taika Waititi Star Wars movie, it's also frustrating, as this adds to the already substantial list of projects that were unable to be made by Lucasfilm. I understand creative differences happen, and I agree that there are times to take control and cut it off when things go wrong in the writing process. But let's not act like some of the movies and shows we've gotten for Star Wars recently shouldn't have been cut off or rewritten. I see people defend this constant issue as Lucasfilm being safe or making sure the story is right. But again, I cannot find this to be a logical explanation, because if this were the case, then we wouldn't have gotten the multitude of bad Star Wars projects that we have gotten. It's a silly excuse, and this Taika situation just adds more to the list. But anyways, after Daniel reported this, Big Screen Leaks had some conflicting information regarding the movie. He then claimed that the film is not scrapped at all, and that Lucasfilm is still planning to work on it after the strikes are up. And then Jeff Snyder also said in a live stream that this project is once again not dead. So with Taika's questionable comments to the lack of development and Lucasfilm's track record, I personally am leaning more towards not that this project is officially dead and completely scrapped, but more so that in the end, no matter what, this film will not happen. I mean, you can pick any Star Wars announcement and make a post saying your quote-unquote sources have confirmed it is dead, and well, unfortunately, you would have a decent chance of being right. With all this, it's kind of funny because it wouldn't be fair for me to be mad at this news if it is true, as I never wanted a Taika film in the first place, but at the same time, I think it is fair to be frustrated in their inability to get a Star Wars movie in the theaters again. Even the ones I didn't really love, there was still something special about going to watch a new Star Wars on the big screen, and I know many of you guys feel the same. I do miss it, but at the end of the day, it is out of our hands. All we can do is hope and pray to the Mortis gods that things will turn around one day for Lucasfilm and Disney. But what do you guys think about this news? Are you kind of in the same boat as me where you're like, well, I'm not too mad about this because I didn't really want this film in the first place, but it's also frustrating that this ongoing issue is still going on within Lucasfilm or whoever, Disney, whatever, whoever it is. I don't know. I don't care. It just needs to get fixed, honestly. I cannot wait for the next episode of Ahsoka, and I hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, please be sure and leave a like on it, as it really does help out the channel a lot. And if you are new, why don't you go ahead and subscribe for more Star Wars news, theories, essays, and more, and I'll hopefully see you in the next one.